two to the one, from the one to the three. I like good pussy and I like good trees. Smoke so much weed you wouldn't believe, and I get more.
Alright, so what's going on, Side Subkin here? Now today I'm going to be doing a story time. This story is about the last day, but it's this year, so I'm just going to be naming this video The Last Day Remastered. Now let's absolutely get into it. Now, on the last week, Wednesday was my last day because I failed to mention this in the last video. I'm sorry, but I got suspended. He's pretty much said on when I got in trouble for the whole riot thing that just pretty much don't come to school Thursday and Friday. So Wednesday was my last day, right? And I go to school, and I'm pretty normal, actually, because I wasn't in the right state of mind, if you know what I'm saying. Anyway, I was pretty normal, and I go through most of my classes. I go through first, second, third, fourth period, and fifth period we have lunch. And when lunch came around, I'm like, okay, you know what? I'm tired of just sitting there being normal. I'm ready to party because it's my last day. I'm ready to party, right? So I pull up to lunch, and I just get a water bottle, okay? And I stand up, and I'm just like on the stage pretty much just throwing stuff in the trash can, literally missing every single shot. I never claimed to be an NBA superstar. Sorry, I literally missed every single shot. But the lunchroom supervisor came up and he was like, "Yo, you need to go sit down." I'm like, "No." So I'm walking around and I'm like, "Yo, what should I do?" You know, like I didn't know what to do, right? Because I had no thoughts in my head. And Kale said, "Yo, you should jump in a trash can and you should let somebody roll you around in it." And I'm like, "Okay, that's a good idea." I kind of sat on it a little bit just to see if I could top it, but eventually I did jump in a trash can and roll around in it. So I had my friend Mr. Kistler come up and roll me around in the trash can, and I gave my phone to Kale, right? So while I'm rolling around in this trash can, I mean, everybody is clapping. Literally, no joke, no scam. Every single person in that cafeteria was clapping. And sidestop Kenny. Sidestop Kenny. And it was great. 10 out of 10 time. And I finally get up out of the trash can and I walk around a little bit and I turn back to see all the lunchroom supervisors and the school resource officer, by the way, just spam calling the assistant principal. Like, you need to get this menace of society, Sidestop Kenny, out of here. So I'm kind of walking around a little bit, giving people high fives and stuff. And the assistant principal comes and I'm like, oh my God, oh shit, here we go again. So he comes up to me and he's like, "You need to go up to the office." And I'm like, "For what?" And he's like, "You need to go up to the office." And I made a mess because I was throwing like full chocolate milks in the trash can opened. So I'm like, "I need to clean up this mess." And he's like, "No, you don't." I'm like, "Yep, I do." So I went to go grab some towels and I cleaned up the mess. And I was just trying to stall it, right? Because I didn't want to go up to the office. And I knew there was no way to escape that because he was just going to be like, "Go up to the office, go up to the office, go up to the office." And he asked me literally like 30 times to go up to the office. And while he's asking me to go up to the office, I mean, all you hear is, "Na na na na, na 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 na, hey, hey, hey." Let's get a quick one for me, real quick. For sure. Faux show. Alright, so I'm cleaning up my mess, right? And he's like, "You need to go up to the office." And I'm still kind of walking around, and I'm like, oh, I'm pretending to buy food. And I went to go get some chips, and I literally, like, dialed my number in. There was no, like, lunch lady there because they're usually, like, when you're going through the lunch line, there's a lunch lady at the end so that you can put your number in, and you can, you know, they'll say, like, they'll charge you. I literally did it myself, and you know, because there's nobody there, and I'm like, well, I'm hungry, so I did it myself, and I'm just trying to stall as long as I can, and the school resource officer was like, "Is he coming with you?" And he was like, "Yep," and I finally leave. Okay, I finally leave. I pull up to the office, and I see Hannah Banana, William, and the Muscle Man, and I'm like, okay, I know what Hannah Banana and William are in there for. They went to school, and they weren't allowed to be there, apparently. They had to get a visitor's pass, and the Muscle Man went, "Yeah!" So I pull up and I sat down, and eventually the assistant principal comes in and he goes to the principal's office to tell him that I got in trouble. So The principal comes out and he's like, "Yep, sidestep kidding. Call your mom. You're getting suspended." And I go, "You're telling me I'm getting suspended for jumping in a trash can?" And he was like, "Yep, call your mom. You're leaving." So they pull me into the assistant principal's office, right? And during this time, I had a really bad sinus infection, so I had to get tissues. And I didn't just want to go behind the assistant principal's desk and grab tissues. So I went up to the main area in the office. And when I go there, I see Michael Streptococcus, this kid named Chris, Damien, and Mr. Kistler. And I'm like, "Yo, what's going on, boys? What's up?" And the secretary's like, "Sit down, go back to the office." And I'm like, "I need to get a tissue." And they're like, "No, you don't." And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And I grabbed a tissue. And the secretary gets up out of her desk and she starts like talking to me like I'm a dog. She was like, "Get going." And I'm like, "Okay, you don't need to talk to me like I'm a dog." And she was like, "Oh, I'm not respecting you because you don't respect anybody." And I'm like, "Dude, are you actually retarded? Like, seriously, you don't need to act like I'm a dog, seriously." So I wait around a little bit and I go back to the assistant principal's office, and there's this little door from his office, like connecting his office to the waiting area, and she slams it, dude. She straight slams it. Like, she had it up to here with me. And I finally get somebody. My sister actually came and got me because my mom was in another town, like 10 minutes away. She couldn't come and get me, so they had my sister come get me, which I was chill with. And finally, I go out, and Michael Streptococcus, he was just kind of sitting there. We were kind of like talking, like looking at each other through the little glass window in the assistant principal's door, and I was giving him, that face, you know what I'm saying? And I go to the waiting area, and I just see Chris and Damien, and my sister was there, and I said my final goodbyes. I was like, "Yeah, see ya, boys." Chris was like, "Oh, it was great, getting to know you and stuff." And it's kind of, sad homie hours, you know what I'm saying? Because I was leaving. And yeah, I went. My sister took me to get some monocles. It was 10 out of 10 time. I didn't puke out my monocles this time. You know what I'm saying? It was a good time. Anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys when I see you guys in the next video.